So welcome to another Amazon Live webinar. Today with Amazon Ads team, we have Hui Qi from the Amazon Ads team here with us. So I hope everybody can hear us well. All right, I think there's quite a bit to cover today. So in the interest of time, I think we can start since we are on time so that if you have any questions, you can definitely ask us in the question box, all right? Or you can ask us during the live Q&A portion. So we'll be able to address you before we end. All right, so once again, my name is Jun Liang, and then I'll pass it over to Hui Qi. We'll kickstart today's ads webinar. Hi, Hui Qi, over to you.
Hi everyone. So just like sharing with everyone, so today's agenda is really on keywords management. So just as a quick recap, on the last Thursday of every month, we have the advertising webinar. And in case you haven't been able to essentially catch up on some of our previous webinars, you can actually head over to our past recordings as well as Seller University to download free guidebooks, watch the past webinar where you can pause and play anytime you want. So yes, feel free to take photo of this or screen grab and basically catch up on any previous webinars that we have. And we also, as we mentioned, we're part of together with the Amazon Seller Education team. There's a lot of other webinars as well that Jin Liang hosts that is also non-ads related in terms of very critical information on FBA, listing, legal, IP, etc. So highly recommend you to check out our live webinars, our playbacks, as well as Seller U via this QR code. So I'll pause here a little while for everyone to just take a screen grab as some more attendees join. Yes, so we have everything from very basic educational content to advanced intermediate content. Yes. So I will come back to this screen at the end of the webinar again. And don't worry, as always, you can find us on YouTube for our past webinars as well. Yeah, so just important notice on our webinars. Yes, and I'll just head straight directly into also for everyone, it's a live webinar. I'm here, but I also turn off my screen in a bit. But rest assured that me and Jin Liang are actually live here to answer any questions. Yeah. So essentially, so just to recap in terms of keywords and how it actually relates to Amazon advertising. So really, when it comes to Amazon advertising, it's related to how people search and shop on Amazon.com. They basically primarily lead via keywords, right? They go onto Amazon.com and they search in the Amazon shopping search bar in terms of what product that they're ready to buy, right? So they'll literally type the actual keyword or the shopping query essentially, and that forms the keywords. And how advertising on Amazon works, I would say primarily is driven by keyword, and it's similar to how people often bid for keywords on other kind of platforms like Google AdWords. It's a lot related to keywords and the type of keywords that your customers are searching for. So for a lot of our new sellers, in terms of launching new products, I think a lot of the first questions will be, how to find the keywords really when it comes to launching a new product, or be it you're a totally new seller or you are a seasoned seller launching a new product. So the important thing is that one of the key tips for success in terms of advertising on Amazon is to build a very strong keyword list. Like, what do I mean by strong keywords? Meaning that you need to start building a list of keywords that is effectively helping you drive high impressions, high clicks, and high orders without allowing your ACoS to spiral out of control. And how do we actually use the keywords? We actually use it, for example, in manual keyword targeting, but it's actually available across sponsored product and sponsored brands as well. So we can actually target based on these keywords. And where are some of the keywords that we can do some initial research on? For example, just as an example, if I'm launching a frying pan tomorrow, how can I actually find relevant keywords that real customers are searching for? And then basically creating my own keyword list for that frying pan. So I would suggest probably 3 sources. There are actually quite a lot. There are even off Amazon third-party solutions to help you find that keyword list, like Jungle Scout, Helium 10. But when it comes to just Amazon sources, number one, before you actually immediately jump into manual keyword targeting or building that keyword list, you can definitely use Amazon automatic targeting to help you find basically highly converting keywords. So you're letting Amazon algorithm find that keyword for you first, and then based on what we mentioned, like the top 3 metrics, right? High impressions, higher than average clicks, higher than average conversions, we find a list of keywords that work for us. It can be, for example, like frying pan, cast iron, whatever that is specific to our product. We can download, number one, the search term report. So once you run automatic ads, you can download a search term report, and you'll want to choose basically your top 10 to 30 keywords with this high metrics and basically put them into a separate manual keyword targeting campaign. Number two, I also recommend our sellers to check out Amazon Brand Analytics. So Amazon Brand Analytics is free, it's on your Seller Central. Essentially, it's under brands on the left-hand side of the bar, and then there is Brand Analytics. There are many different functions under Brand Analytics, but I would say take a look at two. Number one, it will be the top search terms under Brand Analytics, and number two, it will be called Search Query Performance. So you can actually take a look at, for example, within your category, just as a demo for the frying pan, I can actually take a look at a frying pan category and see what are some of the top search terms that is driving impressions, clicks, as well as orders. And then secondly, we can also take a look at search query performance. So search query performance actually also allows you to see, for example, your historical performance at a certain point of time. And you can also look at competitors' performance for certain search queries at a certain point of time. For example, Prime Day last year, BFCM last year, were there any changes in search terms that improved? So you can actually take a look at Amazon Brand Analytics and play around with it, specifically the top search terms dashboard as well as the search query dashboard. And then of course, for very new sellers, you really don't know how to start. As long as you have listed your product properly, included your product description, your A+ content, your listing title, once you start creating a manual keyword campaign, Amazon actually automatically generates relevant keyword or suggested keywords for you. So in the kind of example that I put here under keyword targeting, you'll see that there is a suggested keyword list from Amazon, and you can actually take a look. So for example, I've just mocked up a matcha powder example. So you can, Amazon will actually suggest the list of keywords that is relevant for you. For example, they can be very broad category keywords like matcha powder, up to very long tail keywords. For example, organic matcha powder that is suitable for soy milk. Like that's very long tail specific kind of a keyword. And there's broader category keywords like matcha powder or even tea. And of course, then you'll also see how the keyword targeting works in terms of match type, in terms of bidding for each of these keywords. So the suggested keyword list is also a good way for you to look at what are some of the top keywords used within your category. And it's also very much tied to your product description. So if you have set up a listing, but you notice that the suggested keywords given to you are very off, or they don't look correct, it could mean that your listing also has a slight relevance issue, and you will want to optimize your listing a bit. So this is the quick recap in terms of how to find keywords. And you will notice that in this topic today, keywords is actually very much tied to the topic of bidding. So essentially how it works is that you bid on keywords in the Amazon kind of a virtual auction format, where essentially you're bidding for keywords that work for you across all the other competitors. So when it comes to keyword optimization, your keyword strategy is tied very closely to your bidding, your targeting, as well as your budgeting for the keywords. Sometimes I get sellers going like, oh, I bid on the keyword, for example, frying pan, but then I'm not getting any clicks, or I'm actually maybe getting a lot of clicks and not a lot of orders. How to troubleshoot all these problems? Actually, you change not just your keywords. The keyword could be fine, but you could also might have to adjust your bidding strategy, your targeting strategy, and even fix issues like your listing as well. So this is just a quick kind of mind map in terms of how to leverage multiple targeting types and to optimize your bids as well as your budgets. So in the playback, you can pause here as well as you can screenshot right now, just as a kind of a guidebook. And I'll jump into the straight topic for today for keywords management. So I think, like as I mentioned earlier, like a lot of sellers, they have a few different problems when they start manual keyword targeting, right? So I think one common problem that a lot of very new sellers in particular, they often come to me in my one-on-one consultation, you know, when we do the seller meetups, is that I've launched my campaigns and I put keywords. For example, I put Hui Qi frying pan, or I put frying pan, I put you know, cooking pan, but I somehow get very low impressions. So does this mean that I should actually increase my bids? So over here, this is a quick summary in terms of, you know, the 3 big issues when it comes to launching an advertising campaign. So there are a few different steps to optimize your keyword campaigns, and we'll touch on factors affecting your impressions first. So most of the time when you have very low impressions, there are a few different factors to look at, which is number 1, you know, like are you actually winning your buy box? Number 2 is of course you have to meet a minimum level of relevance, meaning if I'm selling a frying pan, but I am bidding on keywords, for example, a soup pot, for example, right? It's highly irrelevant, or it's kind of irrelevant. So if you've basically bidded for the keywords, someone selling a soup pot would actually win the ad placement versus if you are, you know, actually selling a frying pan. So basically, whatever you're advertising, whatever keyword you're using, it has to relate back to your product on a minimum level. And then of course, number 3 is your bid. So one of the biggest kind of factors in affecting your impressions, why you are not getting any impressions, or you know, you're getting super low impressions, is that it's highly likely that your bidding level is too low and you're not getting enough impressions, meaning your competitors are bidding at a higher price, and basically it's an auction format. Not always the highest bid wins, but if you are bidding super low, below the normal CPC level or the target bid levels, it could be the fact that, you know, you're basically being outbid by all your competitors. Of course, subsequent will also be your product price, your star review, your advertising product classification, and of course, like tied in is, you know, your historical click-through rate, your conversion rate, as well as your overall account performance. So essentially, when you notice that I'll keep saying something like traffic. So traffic and impressions are somewhat similar, meaning when you know, I cover this topic. So essentially, impressions mean like the volume of people that have looked at your or glanced at your ad. So traffic is the same. Essentially, the goal before actually trying to gain, like, you know, 1,000 orders a day, actually the prior step before getting orders as well as clicks is actually getting enough impression and securing enough impression, meaning it's a wide net that you're casting out. Then you'll target relevant people and optimize for clicks and orders. So the first step with fixing, you know, low impressions or low traffic, number 1 is keywords and the number of keywords that you're targeting. So, you know, in a broad speaking term, we should actually have between 10 to 30 like effective keywords at a minimum. And subsequently, basically, once you get more keywords, you actually get more traffic. Of course, then the next step beyond this is optimizing for really effective keywords. Number 2 is bidding and your bidding strategy. So there's a few different topics and I'll cover this in detail, but essentially, you know, you have to fix basic issues like your bid cannot be too low. If you're bidding, for example, like 1 cent on the keyword, then there is probably like very little chance that your ad is being shown, because maybe your competitor is paying like, you know, 30 cents, 50 cents per keyword. So you have to kind of adjust, take a look at CPC to get a gauge of whether you are being outbidded. And number 3, what we call, like, you know, what are the sources of your traffic? Number 1 is the matching method. So matching method meaning, for example, are you targeting a very broad match? Meaning if I target frying pan or frying pan in broad match, it could be targeting pans, or it could be targeting, somewhat related terms like cooking pans, which is, a much broader targeting than basically exactly only frying pan. So a lot of sellers that I speak to, they like to start immediately with exact match, which is very, very, very laser focused, very precise. If I'm selling a frying pan, of course I target immediately frying pan. But you actually want to be targeting, for example, browsing customers, right? People who are searching for cooking utensils, cooking pans, and then one of the items that they buy is a frying pan. So this is what we mean by actually increasing your sources of traffic via a slightly broader matching method. And then number two, we also want to look at what we call the advertising placement or advertising slots, meaning that when you search for a frying pan, for example, your product can actually appear on top of search. It can also appear in your competitor's product detail page. So, we might want to increase and take a look at where our ad is showing up. Is it on product detail pages, or is it on top of search, or is it even showing at top of search? And then, of course, we want to make adjustments and try to optimize for basically the placements where we are getting the most impressions, for example. And then, of course, we want to increase our bids on those placements to get more traffic. So I'll start on bidding strategies first. So some of the very kind of questions, like common questions that I get from sellers is, does bid actually equal to our actual charge, which is our CPC or cost per click? So for example, we have two sellers. If the seller is bidding $1 USD and the other seller is bidding 0.4 USD, what is the final fee charged to our seller A, assuming that actually both ads are relevant? So you'll see that we put kind of a minimum line called relevancy, meaning that both ads or both products that we are bidding on the keyword, they have to be like relevant to what they're selling as well. So in this case, seller A definitely has the higher bid, right? They basically bid $1, but are they actually going to be charged $1 exactly? So the answer is no, not necessarily. So the seller A will be charged between 0.4 cents or like 40 cents, sorry, $0.4, between $0.4 to $1. And when we take a look at CPC on Amazon, it's actually the average winning bid across all the sellers in the past 7 days. So not necessarily that if you bid $1, you will exactly be charged $1. So that's the kind of call out that we want to call out. So it will be between 40 cents to $1, but no more than your own bid of $1. And of course, we want to call out to sellers that, relevancy must be there. So for example, if seller A is actually selling frying pan, but then seller B is like bidding for something completely off, like, a spatula, for example, of course, the frying pan for the keyword, of course, seller A will get it immediately. So it needs to meet a certain level of relevance, whatever you're bidding for on the keyword with what you're selling. So in terms of your ads console, when you actually set up your ads console, we can take a look at, what I mean by bidding strategy. And if you attend our webinars, attend our offline workshops, what does bidding strategy mean? So you can actually choose in the Amazon ads console, in your campaign manager, that you can choose 3 different bidding strategies for your campaigns. So you can essentially choose dynamic bids down only, dynamic bids up and down, as well as fixed bids. And apart from these 3, you can even adjust your bids by placements. So essentially, when you see there's an ad placement bid, it means that you're trying to be more aggressively bidding for either the top of search placement, product pages, and also now there is a new development, which is rest of search. So any other placements other than top of search, meaning page 2 and onwards. So this is our Amazon Ads Console, the bidding strategy. So why do you need a bidding strategy? So essentially, for most new sellers, for example, you're not too sure how much exactly to bid. This gives you a chance to either fix your bids under fixed bids, meaning that we don't adjust, or you can actually rely on the Amazon algorithm to either lower your bids when it's not likely to convert to a sale, or to be a bit more aggressive. For example, if you're a seasoned seller, so sorry, a bit of a cough. So we also have dynamic bids up and down, which we oftentimes, for example, we call it a more aggressive bidding strategy, because Amazon algorithm actually increase your bids by up to 100%, meaning if you bid $1, you're giving Amazon the options to bid up to $2 when, for example, the algorithm detects that it is more likely to convert to a sale. It could be that this seller has previously kept clicking on your ad already, or they have purchased it before, and the algorithm, for example, detects that they're about to repurchase. Then essentially, Amazon is helping you secure that sale, so they will raise your bids of maybe $1 up to $2. That's 100% maximum. When it's more likely to convert to a sale. Subsequently, it will also lower your bid when it's less likely to convert based on a sale. So that's the bidding strategy, which I can touch on a little bit more later. And then, of course, we allow you the flexibility of bidding more for your placements. So especially when you download your report, for example, your search term report, or you can even look at it on your ads console, you will notice that for a lot of sellers, different placements give you different performance. So I mentioned, right, prime real estate in Amazon is a search results page. For, I would say, 90% of our sellers, getting a lot of impressions, a lot of clicks from top of search often results in a lot of orders as well. So if, for example, you are trying to launch a new product and you want your product to immediately get a lot of visibility, a lot of impressions, you can bid more aggressively for top search, because that's where huge amount of people browsing are coming from, and you want your ad to be exposed to them. So you can actually increase your bids by up to 900% for certain ad placements that you think are working very well. So that's essentially how you can also optimize your keyword strategy. With slightly more aggressive bids or slightly less aggressive bids, depending on your choice. So we can take a look at our seller case over here, right? So essentially, it shows here, how to choose a bidding method for your new product launch. So in this example, right, this is a seller that is already kind of a seasoned seller, more than half a year selling. His daily budget for his advertising is around $100. And currently, his bidding strategy or his bidding method is dynamic bids down only. Sorry for the typo, it's like the down only bidding, and he's using manual keyword targeting. But you will see that initially, his recommended bid is around 80 cents, right? And and we often compare our bid to our CPC. So you'll notice that, for example, he is bidding actually already higher than CPC, right? 80 cents versus 50 cents for CPC. But he's only getting 15 clicks. So to him, 15 clicks is like too little. So his desire is really just to improve the number of clicks, right? However, he's already bidding higher than CPC, meaning he is technically supposed to be more competitive versus his competitors already. And what he did next was to almost triple his bid, right? So he tripled his bids to $250 USD, and we saw that CPC increased only a little bit, and then the number of clicks also increase only a little bit. Basically, this is not desirable, right? If we triple our bid, shouldn't our clicks basically triple as well? So what happens in this case? Essentially, sorry. So essentially, in this case, over here, the issue here is that definitely the bidding is actually not really the issue. So if you notice that the CPC doesn't fluctuate much and your performance is not improving much, it can be a few different problems. Number one, it's probably nothing to do with bids. So should you actually increase or lower your bid? Actually, I would recommend here in this case to slightly lower his bids. But then the next step to do is to look at his manual keyword targeting. Is he targeting the right keywords? Maybe the keyword is actually simply not relevant to his product. Number two, it could also be price. So essentially, maybe he is not winning the buy box, or his price is just simply being outmatched, and he needs to pivot the strategy. So over here, the key steps to take is definitely relook at what keyword he is targeting. Is it even relevant? Number two, he might want to target more long tail keywords or keywords that are more specific to his product. Number two, I would actually slightly lower the bid since there are very little clicks increased. And of course, number three then is also that he has to take a look and at a review of his own pricing strategy as well. So essentially how to choose a bidding method for your new products, right? Of course, we have to make sure that essentially we need to win the buy box. Number two, we can take a look at our click-through rate, like what is the click-through rate. Number three, we can take a look at his bidding strategy. So there's dynamic bids down only currently, right? With a bid of 0.8 to 2.5, as well as the CPC between 50 cents to 56 cents. Why did his CPC only increase a little bit? It means that maybe his product placement actually didn't rank high enough. And then of course, number three, it could be the ad placement. So possibly he may have increased his bid, but at the same time, it doesn't appear maybe on top of search. It could be that essentially it's not just fierce category competition. It could be that maybe his listing is just not relevant enough and he needs to improve. So what are some of the next steps that he can actually take, right? So essentially, as I mentioned, he should actually slightly lower his bid. However, we also recommend actually changing his bid instead of down only, because as I mentioned, right, down only allows Amazon to adjust your bid downwards. So you could be bidding $2.50, but it actually gives Amazon flexibility to lower your bids as well. So in this seller example, we actually recommend our seller to switch to actually fixed bidding, so that he consistently bids only $150 USD for every kind of possible ad placements to see if, for example, the clicks improve. So if the clicks improve, that's a good thing. The next thing then is also for him to take a look at historical or he can take a look at his campaign performance to see, for example, if top of search is working well for him or product placement targeting is working for him. Then if, for example, top of search is working for him, he should actually bid a little bit more aggressively for his top of search. So, tied into our recommendation of, when to use your fixed bids, we oftentimes actually recommend our sellers to use fixed bids when they are co-starting a product, meaning they're launching a new product. And here you want to expand your awareness as well as your traffic. And then here, the suggested bidding strategy is we use our fixed bids, plus we enable the ad placement modifier, meaning we adjust and want to occupy the prime slot in top of search. TOS is usually short form for top of search. Essentially, you're using fixed bids, and then you want to basically increase your bids for top of search only. This is to help you drive awareness and get actually more impressions as well. So the critical indicators here will be impression, click-through rate, to take a look at whether our impressions actually improved, our click-through rates improved, and then of course do we actually want to limit our ACoS or restrict our ACoS in a very initial phase? I actually don't recommend sellers, especially if you're co-starting a new product. If you're focused so much on ACoS, that I need to keep my ACoS to 20% and below, it's going to impact your impression, simply because you will want to increase your impressions first and secure enough sales before actually immediately optimizing for ACoS. So we can actually take a look at our placement report to find placements with high impressions and high clicks, and then of course increase our bids. So I would say for most of our sellers, top of search is where we get most traffic. But I've also seen exemptions. So certain categories, product detail page from bigger competitors or more established competitors are also one way to get additional traffic for yourself. So essentially, we will want to actually try this or recommend this to our sellers. If you are cold starting, you can actually try using fixed bids and basically enable your ad placement modifier for top of search. So the other thing then is actually how to use dynamic bids up and down. If you recall just now I mentioned for dynamic bids up and down in Amazon, usually I call it the aggressive bidding strategy, which is why these 4 kind of scenarios as well as verbatims from our top sellers is like the recommended scenario to use dynamic bids up and down. Meaning, number 1, you use it with your star ASIN. What is your star ASIN? Meaning, it is an ASIN that you've launched that is experiencing very, very good sales growth. So we actually recommend you to retain that sales growth momentum and use dynamic bids up and down, because looking at your historical data, conversion is coming in very, very well. So even if like as long as sales is continuously increasing, even if you bid a little bit more aggressive, your ad cost can still be maintained. So ad cost is advertising spend over your ads attributed sales. So as long as your sales, the denominator is increasing, meaning it's your star ASINs, you're getting a lot of sales, you will want to keep up that momentum and you want to stay competitive with your bids. So we recommend this strategy for your better performing ASIN or star ASIN. Number 2, it's actually to use during peak season, especially on your star ASIN during peak season. Peak season meaning like Prime Day, meaning like major sale or discount events, or for example, at the end of the year when it's holiday season, it's near to BFCM. In this scenario, competition is more fierce, especially for your star ASIN or your bestseller ASIN. So rather than like manually changing your bids, fixed bids, low bids, dynamic bids, it's actually good to actually use dynamic bids up and down, basically to increase traffic as well during peak season. And then, of course, really the benchmark here is to take a look at your sales. So essentially, dynamic bids down only is most effective for your sellers, who are experiencing good sales growth. And I think that is something that you can try if, for example, any of your products are getting really good momentum, sales is increasing. Then, of course, you can try to adjust your bids to be a bit more competitive with dynamic bids up and down. Yeah. So the other scenario is when to use your dynamic bids down only. So down only, as I mentioned, is a slightly more conservative bidding strategy. So it subsequently in that order, we actually recommend you to use dynamic bids down only. Number 1, in scenarios where your product is going to be out of stock soon. We don't actually recommend you to completely turn off your ads essentially when you're going to be out of stock, because once you're out of stock, your ads will stop anyway. But it's, if you still have, for example, like maybe 5 units left, like a little bit of units left, you can actually just reduce your bidding, reduce your budget, and essentially your product will essentially not lose its ranking as well. Number 2, it's when you have a high proportion of organic orders, meaning that you have when you look at tacos and you notice that your tacos is actually going down, you actually recommend for example recommending you to use dynamic bids down only. And for number 3, we also recommend you to use dynamic bids down only when you want to kind of control your e-costs in off-season periods, as well as when you need to clear your inventory. So that's for dynamic bids down only. Yeah. And of course, number 3 then is to when to actually adjust your placement bids. Number 1 is definitely when you observe that your conversion rate shows super big difference between like the different ad positions. You'll see that actually under your ad campaign settings, you can actually see the performance of where your orders are coming in from in different placements, be it top of search as well as for ad placements. So if you notice, for example, that for top of search, you're actually getting super good conversion, you should naturally bid more aggressively for that ad placements. Number two, it's when you have special demand for a certain advertising space during a certain period. So in this case, I would say, for example, for very seasonal products or products that are geared for very much for gifting, for example, I would say that like for certain periods, for example, like Mother's Day gifting, Valentine's Day gifting, your product is like seasonally in demand. Why not actually grab the traffic at top of search, for example, right? And essentially you want to target, for example, top of search in those kind of scenarios as well. And then number three, you need to make up traffic for a certain advertising slot for the product. So number three actually just means that essentially you want to aggressively get more orders during the traffic source, then you can get top of search. Here's an example of how to take a look at your ad placement big increase. So this is a mock-up of a seller. He's selling, the pet fountain, still water fountain. And over here, you can actually take a look on your ads console. This is how the ads console looks like. You can actually see what are the placements that are actually driving the impressions, the clicks, the bids for you. So essentially, you will see that under placement, there is top of search, product pages, rest of search, right? And we can see that actually, for example, under top of search, you'll notice that average across all the different placement, the average click-through rate is 34%, 0.34%. However, you'll notice that, for example, top of search, he has super high click-through rate, 7.5%. Then next, we want to look apart from click-through rate, is under orders. So you will see that actually under orders, it's almost evenly split. However, when you take a look at conversion rate, you'll notice that top of search has super high conversion rate of 11%. Conversion rate being orders divided by clicks, right? And you'll see that actually when you take a look at ACoS, top of search ACoS is actually super much lower, almost half of that versus the other two ad placements. So in this example, what we want to do is that for this keyword, cat water fountain still, which is actually quite a long tail keyword, he should actually adjust his bids upwards. There's a bid adjustment box here. I would actually increase the top of search bid adjustment by between 10 to 20%. So that is exactly how we can actually improve conversion. We see that top of search, very high click-through rate, very high conversion rate with slightly low ACoS. We can actually increase our bids for this placement specifically. How much to increase by? I would say between 10 to 20% for this bid adjustment. So this is essentially the recommendation in this scenario. So I won't delve too deep, but there are three options for you to increase the bids by placement: top of search, product detail page, as well as rest of search. So I would recommend for most of the, I would say 90% of our sellers that are selling, top of search is usually one of the most effective ways. Of course, there are certain categories that I've observed that possibly you can get additional traffic from product detail page. I would recommend that you actually use your best seller or your star ASINs to target other product detail page, or put a bid modifier on product detail page only for very best selling ASINs. Rest of search is actually something new. We recommend sellers to try it moderately. You can increase, for example, if you see rest of search, you're actually getting very good results, good click-through rate, good conversion rate. I would recommend micro price increase in terms of your rest of search bidding as well. However, for most of our sellers, I encourage you to take a look at your ads console to try and see, in each of your campaigns, you can actually take a look at your ad placement performance. Take a look at CTR, which is click-through rate, clicks divided by impressions, as well as conversion rate, which is orders divided by clicks. Then you essentially can find out which ad placement is performing well for you, and you can adjust in that scenario. Yeah. So number two, how do we actually start increasing our keyword traffic sources, right? Meaning, how do we actually farm for more keywords essentially, right? I know a lot of our sellers, they're very efficient. They want to save ACoS. So most of our sellers I spoke to, like, they start with exact match, for example. Like, I'm selling the water fountain, so I only bid for water fountain. But essentially, in this scenario, sometimes you could be limiting the amount of new to brand or new to category customers that are coming to your brand and possibly browsing for your product. So essentially, the goal here is that to constantly get more additional sales, more new to brand sales, you actually will want to increase like your matching methods beyond exact match. We oftentimes actually recommend sellers to start with broad match before you start optimizing towards phrase and exact match, which is from a broad perspective to slightly less broad to very, very precise targeting of people. So I'll explain a little bit more in the next slide. So in terms of some of the basics and a recap, right, essentially of what are the keywords that we use. So in the scenario when you choose the keyword, for example, boy shoes, there are actually 3 match types, right? Broad, phrase, and exact. So under broad match, as it's saying, it's very, very broad. The keywords, like there's no particular order in how people type the keywords. Any kind of word can be inserted in between. Keywords might not even be included in the customer search terms. Number 2, we have phrase match. So phrase match, the order actually matters. So if I put boys shoes, it has to be boys shoes, then maybe color description or size description at the end. And then of course there won't be insertion in between, meaning boys white shoes is not included, for example. But this covers, for example, before and after keywords inclusion, plural forms, as well as common spelling errors. And then, of course, the most narrow and the most precise match type is exact match type, right? Meaning that if, for example, me, Hui Qi, I'm shopping for boys' shoes today, I only type boys' shoes, and that is the only type of customer that I'm going to target. Meaning, if someone actually types boys' shoes white or red boys' shoes, you actually could be excluding those kind of people as well. So that's what I meant by, oftentimes we recommend sellers to actually start broad match first instead of exact match, so that basically you are throwing out and casting out a wide net to find out what are the top different type of keywords for you, so that you build a effective keywords list in the longer term, and you have more than 1 to 2 keywords in your arsenal. You actually have more. Then you optimize towards phrase, then you optimize your most effective keywords to exact match. So that's the kind of step-by-step progression recommended for our sellers. So, essentially, we have also some slight changes to broad match. So this is just a quick call out, but before, essentially before broad match, it actually contains the shopper query containing all their keywords and all their synonyms in any different kind of order. It also includes misspelling, related searches, and other variations of, near the keywords meaning. But after that, this match type, after the slight changes recently, the match type actually allows your ads to broadly appear for your customer search terms in any order. But it now includes essentially singular, plural variations, synonyms, and related words. And of course, essentially, for example, the keyword sneakers, they might match our customer shopping search term, but such as canvas sneakers, basketball shoes, traffic field athletic shoes, etc. So basically, now the meaning itself could essentially be extended. So essentially, Amazon is helping you target in an even broader scale for other competitors as well. So or other keywords as well. So that's the change to broad match. And also, now broad match also has modifier for your branding ads. So essentially, you can actually add a plus symbol, basically the plus modifier in front of a keyword, so that it basically, it's a rule. It says that it must include search results for that keyword. So when you add, for example, plus men shoes in broad match, only the search terms including men will be matched. For example, men's sneakers, running shoes for men, but for example, running shoes will not be matched. So essentially, you can actually start putting a plus. So this is a kind of the tip for our sellers. So if you really want to insert, for example, certain keywords like shoes, then you can put a plus inside it. or you want to include, for example, plus formal, plus shoes, it will make sure that formal and shoes appears in the match keywords as well. So that's also how you can slightly optimize your broad match as well. So what is the usage scenario for broad match, right? I would say for most of sellers, you should use broad match as a way to harvest keywords, right? I think one key note is definitely like, for example, what example can I say? So for example, in terms of water bottle, right? I would say that last year there was a huge trend in water bottles that, you know, had handles like the standing cup. This is a very specific example, but you know, on social media, this was a very, very big trend, right? Having a water bottle that is, for example, helping you to keep the temperature in control with a handle. So if, for example, you only bid on, for example, portable water bottles, but actually the keyword that people are searching for is water bottle with handles, then it would be a miss not to target that keyword, right? If you're selling that water bottle. So broad match actually surfaces the actual keywords that people are searching for. And you might notice in your search term report, oh, there's actually an increase in number of orders or clicks from people who have like searched for water bottle plus handle, you know. So then your next step is to actually ensure that you add water bottle plus handle into your phrase or into your exact match as well. So that's how you can use this as a tool to find broader exposure opportunity, like getting more traffic, detect the latest keyword search trend, and basically improve your keyword exploration, right? As I mentioned, like for example, in this example, he's searching for a black pen holder, black desk, etc. So we can actually take a look at under all these keywords, which are the ones that's the most effective, as long as they're very effective. For example, you notice that black is your best selling color variation. Then you can add, for example, black and ensure that black is a mandatory keyword as well in your phrase, in your exact. And if you really want to target, you know, on a very defined level, on broad, we can even put the plus black. So we ensure that we're just targeting people who are looking for a black color pen holder product, for example. So that's the usage scenario for broad match. The things to note is that, of course, broad match is broad. Like your targeting is, of course, naturally also some people that are essentially not really like probably looking for a black pen holder as well, if you don't put in the plus, if you don't modify your campaign at all. So the thing about broad is that it helps you harvest, for example, good keywords, but you need to keep an eye on your ACoS, your ad spend. So over time, you want to add in, for example, negative keywords, for example, keywords that drive your ACoS completely out of control. Then you can put negative targeting to actually optimize your spend in broad match. So also a recommendation in terms of usage scenarios for, you know, different sellers at different stages. So if you just started advertising and you notice that most of the time your challenge is exposure, traffic, impressions, meaning you're not getting anyone visiting your listing, nobody saw your ads, then of course the goal here is to find really high performing keywords, right? You want to increase your awareness, increase your impression opportunities, then it helps you collect your keywords. So what you want to do is to do broad match with negative keywords, then you put the accurate keywords in your listing as well. Number two is for sellers who are intending to launch a new product, right? So for example, you don't know how to control the core keywords of the product, and how do you actually find long tail keywords that increase your conversion rate, right? So it actually helps you to find out what are the actual searching queries that consumer use to find the products, what words bring the most impression, clicks, as well as orders. And you know, you can find the actual shopping query, meaning that you can actually find long tail keywords with very high conversion rate. Then it optimizes your new product launch. And number three is, of course, you know, for brands or seasoned sellers that, you know, you want to increase your brand exposure. You know, you want to acquire new customers, new to brand customers. Maybe you're already the market leader, right? And you want to influence consumers, you know, in the awareness and consideration stage. Broad match will help you get more traffic and to increase your exposure opportunities. And you will be in a good position because if you're already having sales, you're having good ratings and reviews, it actually helps you explode, you know, or, you know, actually spread your brand name broader to other new customers. So for example, if I'm Hui Qi, I'm selling frying pan, I can actually target broad match cooking pans, for example, people who are looking at soup pans, boiling pans, for example, and essentially try to convince them to buy my frying pan. So that's the goal behind increasing your brand exposure and targeting, for example, related or parallel categories to get new to brand customers. So that's broad match usage scenarios. Number two is our phrase match. So for phrase match, and this related again, to your keywords, right? When to use your phrase match. Phrase match is when your product, number one, is recommended when your product is like prone to like a bit of confusion or it has multiple meaning. For example, the keyword is glasses, right? Actually, glasses can mean like wine glass, drinking glass, or it can also mean spectacles, right? In certain marketplace, like maybe in Singapore, sometimes we call it spectacles, but in some other countries, it could also be called as glasses, like, reading glasses, for example. So here you want to capture the multiple meanings of glasses if you're selling, for example, a reading glass or spectacle in that case. Number two is that when you're selling your product, it's a two-word proper noun, meaning, for example, makeup brush. So if I'm exclusively selling a makeup brush, it's not really ideal for me to target makeup brush in a broad match because I would be targeting total category for makeup, and I will also be targeting total category for brush. So you might actually get a lot of random clicks from people that are looking for maybe, for example, painting brush, or random people that are actually just casually browsing for makeup, but not necessarily the makeup tool brush, So phrase match is when you want to kind of narrow and make your product a little bit more specific. So it gives you more control, and it also helps you to manage your ad spending a little bit more. And of course, last but not least, right, most of our sellers are very concerned about exact match, and I think it's also a very important tool to use. So exact match is where you get most of your conversions from. I would say most of our very big sellers, most of bulk of their orders come from exact match campaigns. So essentially, as I mentioned, from your broad match and your phrase match, you want to start finding high quality keywords. So you will see that, for example, in this example, in broad match, the real customer search terms, so many different like variations, right? There's Halloween decorations, Halloween parties, zombie decorations, blah, 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 blood bag drink container, like 10 bags, for example. So you will want to kind of take a look, right, and essentially see what keywords are really driving essentially your conversion. So if you notice, for example, for some reason this keyword, this actual keyword, has super high sales conversion, it could be that you might want to actually put this specific customer search term, blood bag drink container 10 bags, and that's exactly what you're selling. We can, and it has a relatively low CPC, very high conversion. This kind is what we mean by long tail keyword, right? It's very specific to what you're selling. Then you will want to change the match type or include it as an additional keyword under exact match for blood bag drink container 10 bags. So that's the product that our seller is selling. However, to capture the additional traffic opportunity during Halloween, meaning that during Halloween he can actually get people who want to decorate their house, decorate their school, decorate their office with this kind of drink containers. He is using other search terms to get more and incremental traffic. However, for the actual product that he is selling, he should actually target this search term in exact match. So we actually recommend you, for long tail keywords, you can precisely target these keywords and then increase your bid appropriately. So this is just the kind of a top line screenshot of how to determine which matching method to use. Again, broad match, the goal is like almost like a learning machine, right? It's for you to harvest high performing keywords and then essentially take these high performing keywords and basically move them to a separate phrase match and a separate exact match campaign and allocate your budget consistently. So essentially, phrase and exact is where you really want to bring conversion, optimize your advertising return, as well as to help you improve your organic rankings. So that is the 3 different match types. And are they mutually exclusive, right? If we use broad match, does that mean that our phrase match we should just ignore it? So the answer is really no. Every single word, like actually helps to bring you some kind of impression and traffic. So we highly recommend you to maintain actually as a best practice 3 separate campaigns. One is for broad, one is for phrase, and one is for exact. And essentially, you can adjust your budget as well as your bid for these keywords in the 3 different match types, right? And essentially, we will want to see, and for most of our new sellers who are just launching their campaign, I would recommend you to launch all 3 match types for each of your keywords. Essentially to kind of essentially detect the trend, and you can essentially for each keyword, right, like over time optimize towards phrase, optimize towards exact. So this can be very efficient. We highly recommend our sellers to try this as well. So in addition to keyword matching methods, are there any other ways for us to increase our traffic? So definitely, in most of our previous examples, we focus very much on sponsored products, but keyword targeting also comes and is also applicable to sponsored brands. So for sponsored brands, I recommend the best guideline for our sellers is to take your highest performing keywords that you found in sponsored products and essentially copy and paste your top 10 to 30 best performing keywords into your sponsored brand ads. So I would say, especially for Singapore, sponsored brand video is still very underutilized by most of our sellers. So if you have actually, a effective video from your YouTube, from your, essentially like maybe your TikTok channel, why not try a sponsored brand video, right? So sponsored brand video now supports both landscape as well as horizontal, vertical formats, sorry. So I highly recommend our sellers to combine actually or try sponsored products with sponsored brands. Another reason why sponsored brands is super geared for top of search, quite honestly. So for example, if you search frying pan right now on Amazon, the first ad placement you see right at the top is a sponsored brand ad. So it's another way, if you notice that your top of search results has very high clicks, very high conversion rate for top of search, I would then actually usually strongly recommend the seller to try sponsored brands because top of search traffic is good for your business. So based on your historical data, so why not try it together at the same time? So that's for a quick tip in case you want to grow more traffic and have more impressions. So very sorry, like some of our screenshots are in Chinese. We will fix this the next time. But essentially, when you actually take a look at, for example, the keyword handheld vacuum, cordless, you will see that actually using like different actually products, like meaning different like sponsored ad formats, so sponsored products, sponsored brand videos, sponsored brands, it actually brings about different type of performance. So you'll notice that sponsored products, it can actually appear not just on top of search, it can appear on product detail page. Sponsored brand video appears around the middle of the search results page. And sponsored brands are most of the time super geared for top of search. So actually it serves by multiple different purposes, right? For sponsored brand video, it gives you a chance to show the product use scenario. It can even talk about your brand story if that's what you want to target. Sponsored brands actually shows maybe portfolio collection, or you can actually drive people to your store, to your Amazon store, and increase traffic to your Amazon store. Meanwhile, sponsored products very much for conversion, right? People that are ready to buy a handheld vacuum, you will see that essentially, sponsored products can also be very effective in targeting our consumers as well. So you will see that across all 3 different formats, we get different kind of results in terms of impressions, click-through rate. You will see that over here for this specific keyword, highest click-through rate is actually sponsored brand video. So that's super interesting, right? And aid cost is also very low. So I would say, this keyword, we can consider, like our sponsored brand video, it can be said that it's actually really quite effective in terms of driving people towards clicking on our ad, towards actually buying our ads as well. So we might want to, for example, explore investing a little bit more of sponsored brand video in this scenario, for example. So we recommend sellers to mix and match different ad formats, and try. Secondly, how to increase even more traffic, right? Beyond keywords targeting, we also have product targeting. So essentially, not just with keyword, we recommend sellers to try product targeting, meaning, for example, if you have already a very good product that you're selling, you have good amount of orders coming in, and you know you're getting pretty decent 4.5 stars, like for example, kind of ratings and reviews, you can actually try product targeting to actually gain additional traffic from similar other products that you know that you have competitive advantage. Maybe, you know, handheld vacuum, yours actually you know, is more energy efficient. It actually offers multiple different power mode, for example, and your product is superior. You can actually, for example, target products with lower ratings and reviews, very high price, and you can actually encourage people to switch to your product. So that's a tactical way of getting more traffic as well. So we often actually recommend sellers this during peak season. So we often have what we call a offensive and defensive strategy. If you notice, you know, when we enter a product listing page, meaning that, you know, for example, I'm the seller for this comb, you will notice that there's actually multiple different ad products popping up around your product, right? Around my comb product. You'll see that below here, this ad placement here on the left and I mean on the right, as well as right at the bottom of the product descriptions, that is sponsored display. Then further down, we have sponsored brands. And then even further down, you will also see sponsored products. So I mentioned earlier, for example, if this comb is already selling super well, I have a few thousand reviews already with very high star rating. One way is to defend my brand. So I can actually use my other comb products and target this hero product with sponsored display. Or I can actually also use my own products and use sponsored products to defend my ASIN. The other kind of scenario is that maybe this comb is competitor B. So I am Hui Qi, but I'm actually I noticed that this competitor actually has another different product. I want to actually take some traffic from this seller. I can actually also use sponsored display or sponsored brands or sponsored products with my own product. So maybe I'm very confident on my product pricing, my product features, you know, and my own star rating and reviews. I can actually be more preemptive, more action oriented. I come and take a little bit of traffic or try to redirect some of the traffic to my own page. So this is what we mean by defensive as well as offensive strategy. So that's another way for us to, you know, essentially increase some of our traffic, increase some of our orders and conversion via different tactical approach using multiple ad products. So definitely for our sellers, not just, you know, in terms of paid ads, we also recommend our sellers to use, you know, the other and complement our ads with, you know, other free, what we call free brand tools or free ads. Meaning, for example, sponsored brands, you can combine with Amazon store to get more traffic. You can also use Amazon Post, which is like a free social media tool to help you get more traffic. It's free, right? You know, as long as you have some custom images, maybe you've used it in your A+ content or in your other secondary images in your listing, you can actually upload onto Post already for free, just to gain any kind of incremental traffic for yourself. So we highly encourage sellers to use free brand tools if you haven't already. Yes. So the next few parts will be on how to increase your clicks and orders, right? So if you see over here, how do we actually, you know, improve our clicks and our orders? I would say actually for both these factors, if you notice that, wow, you've been getting millions of impressions, but you maybe get only like 10 clicks, no orders. It really means that something is wrong. Number one, with your hero image. Number two, your relevance. And number three, there is something wrong with your listing. So really, we actually highly encourage sellers to really take a look and do a super thorough listing audit. Meaning, are your hero images clear enough? You know, are they high resolution enough? Number two, do you have more than one picture? Do you have actually multiple 5 different pictures? Do you have detailed product descriptions? It's important to compare your own listing with a competitor's listings. You can take a look at, for example, you know, the other products that appear surrounding your listing page. Those that are not sponsored means that they are probably also organically doing or selling very well. You might want to take reference onto your competitors' images to see whether or not, you know, they have actually done a better job in terms of better pictures, you know, better A+ content. Of course, whether or not like their product descriptions, they are doing it in a slightly different way. Maybe they have captured, some of the very core or critical keywords within their product descriptions, and you should also essentially continuously optimize your listing as well. Other stuff that is affecting is definitely also the advertising selection, advertising keywords. We could also be, if for example in under clicks, if you notice that you have been getting very, very little clicks, it could be that we are overly targeting on broad keywords and very, very big kind of words. Meaning, for example, in the example of matcha powder, we could be targeting, for example, the keyword that is like tea leaf, which kind of covers matcha powder, but it's also not incredibly relevant. So in that scenario, while we get the traffic, right, meaning someone searching for tea or tea leaves, they kind of see our matcha powder ad, but they find that no, like, actually I'm not really interested in buying matcha. I want to drink loose leaf tea. Then you actually need to optimize your keyword strategy here. You need to negatively target or maybe consider, reducing our bids on very, very big or broad category keywords, and then optimizing it towards like more specific keywords such as matcha powder, or even for example super like long tail keywords like organic matcha powder, suitable for cold water, something that is super long tail. Oftentimes this helps you to improve conversion as well as clicks. So the goal is to have good impressions first. Then once over there we have secure impressions, we optimize towards higher click-through rate and higher conversion rate. So that's how we actually improve. So some of the FAQ, as I mentioned, we have very low. Number one is always listing. So we need to review the multiple different factors around listing. Number two is ad placement. So sometimes we have very, very good impressions, but clicks are low. It could also be that your ad is actually, a little bit pushed down the ranks. Maybe it might be appearing on second page or third page, or you could be displayed around very strong competing product. So it could actually result in a slightly lower click-through rate. So here we need to confirm the ad placement and optimize our ad placement strategy. Number three, and then of course, is how specific are our keywords. So especially if your click-through rate is low, we need to insert more long-tail keywords, specific keywords, right? Download your search term report. Okay, maybe I have targeted the keyword that is tea or tea leaf. We need to kind of take a look under the search term report, what is the actual shopping query. And essentially, we want to phrase or exact match target the actual customer query that generated an order for you. So that is essentially how we can optimize. Yeah. And the other way to really optimize our campaigns is to use negative targeting, negative keyword or product targeting to help optimize for our conversions. So why use negative targeting, right? So essentially, like some of our sellers have feedback, right? Especially if you're really kind of targeting very big keywords like affordable women bags, for example. They're selling bags, for example, in a very high-end bag category. However, you're actually getting traffic from, for example, the keyword affordable women's bag. But if your bag is not affordable, or you are actually trying to cater to a more high-end pricing, you might actually want to negative the keyword, for example, affordable. Because maybe you don't want to target price-sensitive customers, right? So you could be getting a lot of clicks. People like your high-end bag, but their budget is a bit too low. So you might want to negate the word affordable and actually pivot to, for example, premium or luxuries, this kind of keywords to target more specifically to the customer profile that you're targeting for. So negative keyword targeting. So just to recap for our sellers, negative targeting is available in both automatic as well as manual targeting. Under automatic, you will see that the match types, the names are a little bit different. Loose match, close match, those are negative keyword targeting. And then for substitutes and complements, we can do negative product targeting. We can actually see the performance of these different 4 match types in automatic targeting. So for example, if I see that, loose match is super like causing my ACoS to increase. I'm getting a lot of clicks, but no orders. Then actually I can take a look at what are some of the more ineffective or wasteful keywords and do negative keyword targeting. And we can also download our report to see, for example, a certain type of product targeting is not working, maybe compliments not working. What is compliments? For example, I'm selling a laptop, but I'm targeting keyboard, like keyboard kind of a product. This complementary categories, but sometimes it's not that effective. We can either turn it off, or we can actually just do negative product targeting. Then we also have manual targeting, which is keyword and product. And under those respectively, you can do negative targeting on those as well. So this is just a quick recap and example of how negative targeting works. Negative exact means that you're essentially excluding exactly the search term that you think are not relevant. So for example, this seller case, the product and the keyword that he's targeting is a premium woman bag. The keyword he has actually selected is affordable woman bag, but he noticed that this advertisement is not displayed when people search for affordable bag, women's bag, affordable women bag on sale. The advertisement might still be displayed. So we essentially negate only the word affordable women bag. However, if someone actually search for woman bag on sale, our ads might actually still be replaced, be displayed. So that's negative exact. Negative phrase actually just remove the words that you don't want to be associated with. So we actually can use negative phrase. So for example, if the product is also women's premium women bag, the seller keyword that he wants to negate is affordable women's bag on sale. The negative phrase he wants to remove is affordable and on sale, because essentially I'm selling something premium. I want to remove the phrase affordable and on sale. Words such as what consumers want are cheap and discounted brands. We can actually improve our traffic, and we can actually remove essentially remove these keywords out. So it actually allows for more flexible negative targeting. So I would say unless the keyword is very, very specific, we can try negative phrase first, especially on all words related to affordable, low price, on sale, cheap. We can actually use and target for negative phrase. However, for example, you see that some keywords that are completely irrelevant for you. So one example that I like to use is one of our sellers actually sells plant grow poles, right? Basically like the kind of poles that plant can climb on and grow. However, the word pole is super generic, and the word pole is just like it can also generate like very random kind of different type of like meanings, right? So he would actually negative exact target the word pole. Or if he noticed that certain kind of keywords that are generating insane number of clicks but no orders, he would negative exact target those keywords. Yeah. So essentially, some of the seller FAQ we get is, the core keywords of the new product period. We have about 40 clicks, but no conversion. Should I negative target it straight away? So you actually just launch a product, right? You get about 40 clicks and you have no conversion. Should we straight away lower the bid, or should we actually straight away negatively target that keyword immediately? So it depends, right? We need to take a look at what the keywords are. If they are completely irrelevant to your words and no conversion, then you want to directly negatively target those keywords, optimize your listing, optimize your hidden keywords, and improve your relevance. That's essentially, this is what will happen. Number two, if it is a related keyword to your product, meaning the keyword makes sense for the product for you to target, but you have very, very low conversion, I would say don't immediately negatively target them, right? It could still actually generate some conversion. If it's still within the acceptable range of ACoS, we shouldn't immediately negative target very broad keywords, because you're still waiting for traffic, you're still trying to gun for more impressions. You can lower your bid first. However, you wouldn't want to essentially shut it off completely. And essentially, if your long tail keyword is still unable to bring about conversions, then you can actually consider exact exact negative target your long tail keyword, it's very inefficient. But you will want to regularly check and release some of your negative keywords. And then, of course, number 3 is to take a look at, converting well but slightly irrelevant keywords. I would say if it's giving you sales, you need to investigate why it's, you're getting sales from this supposedly irrelevant keywords, but they're still converting. We might want to make some adjustments and monitor first. So number 2, some sellers have also come and tell me, I operate in this keyword, but the ACoS is too high. So how do I actually negatively target it? So one very good example that I've encountered recently is the shaver category. So I had a seller who is selling electric shavers, and that's exactly the keyword, right? He is selling an electric shaver. There is no other way to negate this keyword. However, the keyword actually has really, really high CPC, right? It could be that, for example, there are many, many competitors. There are competitors with very, very high budget on the exact word electric shaver. So should we negative the keyword electric shaver, but he is selling that product exactly, right? So the strategy here is definitely you want to capture, for example, keyword shavers long tail traffic opportunity, but you don't have to use the exact keyword shaver, electric shaver keyword. So what you want to do is to use the keyword, which is electric shaver, in broad or phrase match, but you negatively exact electric shaver. Over here, it forces the Amazon algorithm essentially to find long tail traffic opportunities, meaning that instead of just electric shaver, it could be generating other type of long tail keyword opportunities for you, meaning it can be, for example, nose hair trimmer. I know it's a little bit random, but like this, the type of long tail category or very specific niche that you can own. If your product, for example, is an electric shaver, but it can be used, for example, on nose hairs or on delicate areas, it actually can like essentially surface more like different type of keywords for you. For example, it can be like gentle shaver, gentle trimmer, for example, and then you can actually target long tail keywords in that sense. Number 2, however, if you really want to capture the category keywords traffic volume, meaning I'm selling an electric shaver and that is the category that I play in, I need to get more impressions and more traffic first, then I recommend sellers to bid with a low bid price at the beginning, right? So you essentially get the traffic, but then it comes with your own budget and your own bid price, right? Within the comfortable range that you're comfortable to bid at as well as to budget for. So you can either bid with a low price or set a budget cap. So meaning in this month, you don't want your ACoS to spiral out of control, you can also put a budget cap on that. Number 3 then is, for example, if you still need the category keywords traffic volume, but quite a few of our sellers in Singapore actually do have, maybe you have funding, maybe you are able to tolerate the ACoS in the short term, and you feel that this is a necessary step for you to grow in your growth phase, then don't use negative targeting, right? Because if that's the product you're selling, then of course in the short term you can tolerate the higher ACoS while you get more sales, get more ratings and reviews, and more orders in. Then eventually over time, as your sales increases, likely your ACoS will also reduce, especially if you are selling a superior product as well. So that's the kind of 3 steps or assessment to take for our sellers. And of course, the other kind of essentially kind of FAQ we often get is, okay, I've already found the keyword that is high impression, high clicks, and high orders. All 3 are higher, is high performing keywords, and I've put them in manual keyword targeting. However, my CPC increased and my orders did not actually significantly increase, right? So essentially here, you don't want to immediately start negating your high performing keywords straight away. You need to observe carefully. So once you've just launched an ad, you should actually wait for about 1 week, right? The attribution cycle for our ads, sponsored product ads in Amazon is around 7 days, meaning that, not most of the time people come online and they buy straight away, right? They take some time to consider, they do a bit of product research before they finally add to cart, and then they pay and make a purchase. So attribution cycle means that on average, we think that someone takes about 7 days before they make, from looking at the ad to making the final purchase. So I would say relook at your ad after 7 days and not cut it too short. I know some sellers like to look at it in one day and then change straight away, but I would say give it some time, about 7 days. Should we also negate high performing keywords in the automatic ads, meaning that I ran sponsored product automatic ads, and then I have outlined the top 10 keywords. However, should I immediately negate it in automatic ads and save money, since I already put it in the manual keywords? So the answer is no. Like in automatic advertising, it is actually considered completely separate. You're not double bidding, right? So they don't actually compete in the same account. So essentially, it really affects the relevance of your products and the words themselves. So we don't recommend sellers to randomly negate very effective keywords in your automatic ads. If you are like doing two separate, automatic plus manual, just keep your high performing keywords in both, since they are high performing. So that's something that we actually recommend. Yeah. So the other quick tip for our sellers when it comes to negative targeting, right? I know like a lot of sellers, they're like, oh, I want to lower my e-cost, so I'll negatively target keywords forever, like, you know, and I don't change and I don't need to think too much about it anymore. But actually, we need to be cautious about this. So as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the electric shaver example, yes, it's a high e-cost keyword at that point of time. However, there are some changes that we need to be mindful of. You might want to release some of the keywords before, like, you know, for example, peak season, before Prime Day, because a lot of people are searching for electric shavers. You might get incremental traffic from it. The caution here is that actually you can just put a budget cap, or you can actually lower your bid. Number two, it can also be that, you know, possibly your listing actually improved. Maybe you included a new A-class content. Maybe you suddenly do premium A-class content. It actually helps with your conversion, and you start seeing your conversion improve. You might actually want to release some of your negative keywords, especially if they are relevant to you. So, you know, market search trends might change when your product starts ranking better organically, when your conversion rate like improves like very significantly during, you know, sales season or peak season. You might want to relook at certain keywords to see, is it possible to gain incremental traffic from that? And you might want to try, for example, to release some of the keywords in those scenarios. So in summary, how to optimize your keywords advertising, right? Number one is, of course, choosing the right bidding strategy. Just as a recap earlier, you know, you really want to kind of take a look at, you know, what kind of product. Is it new product? You know, if it's totally new product, maybe we can actually play more with fixed bids plus your placement modifier. Number two, you know, if it's a star product, maybe you can actually try dynamic bids up and down, meaning that, you know, it's a hot selling item. We can actually try to be a little bit more aggressive. So for example, that's the bidding strategy we will recommend. And of course, you know, if you have a product that is going out of stock soon, you can actually change to bidding down only for your keywords. So that's the attention that we need to pay to, for example, our ad positions or our ad placements. Is it top of search? Is it product placements? We can also modify and optimize our keywords in that way. Number two is really, you know, increasing our ways to gain traffic. So we actually recommend our sellers to use multiple matching methods. Number two, you actually want to combine multiple ad products, sponsored products, as well as sponsored brands to improve your traffic. And number three, you know, don't essentially just stick to only keyword advertising. You actually might want to consider trying product targeting as well. You know, you can actually target maybe lower performing products or products that you're superior to. You can actually gain incremental traffic from those product targeting. And then number three, how to improve your keyword advertising efficiency. Maybe you're targeting very expensive keywords or very, very broad keywords. Then what we can do is to use negative targeting to negate some of our irrelevant keywords. cautiously negate some of our relevant core keywords. And then of course, we want to regularly check and release any of our negative keywords as well. So that's our summary for today. And thank you a lot to our sellers that have stayed with me for quite a while. I will also take on any questions.
Thank you, Hui Qi. Thank you so much for sharing. There is actually quite a few questions in the Q&A box already. Maybe I'll leave you a few minutes to take a look while I take over the screen and share some other very useful documents, guides for our sellers. All right, take a look on the Q&A questions in the question box, okay? Thank you, Hui Qi. You can take a read first. Meanwhile, I actually share the screen again. So do take a look or scan the QR code. There's a very good guide from Seller University. All right, pretty much what Hui Qi shared will also be available in the PDF guides that I shared right now. So do take a scan or screenshot it. All right. So will there be recording for this? So yes, there will be recording for the main content. So however, the Q&A section is usually for just the live attendees, just so to be fair for seller who actually spend their time to attend and watch it to the end to get their question addressed. So this is something that we are trying to do to make it more fairer to all attendees. All right, so we'll still be here for about another minute. Let us know if you have more questions. All right, so let me see. Oh, last one is thank you, Kelsey, if you're still here. I also shared the webinar that we have for April. Now, again, we also have ads webinar coming in April, so you can take a look. All right, so sign up on the QR code if you are keen to know more about ads, whereby Hui Qi will still be around to share with us more ads insight. And then also there's other topics and other external speakers that we have, like DHL, Hyper SKU, etc., to join our webinar in April. Let me see, no questions. So maybe to put Hui Qi on the spot again, I know you're having some bad cough. What is the final advice would you give to our seller before we close this session? Like, what is the most important thing that they need to take away from the session today?
I would say like for most of our sellers, that I've spoke to in the seller meetups, I see an overwhelming number of like online resources that say like to rank better, you straight away do exact match, which I think okay, like it's okay to do. But I think you should also consider thinking about broad or phrase match for keyword targeting, or you can even just use automatic targeting to help you farm for more keywords. I think for a lot of our sellers, they launch maybe 5 exact keywords that super what they're selling, right? Like for example, in Louis' example, it's like office chair, and then we target exactly office chair. But I would encourage our sellers to try doing the broad or the phrase match to see, apart from just literally those 2 words, for example, office chair, are people actually looking for other features, right? For example, like adjustable, it can be like cooling office chair, it can be ergonomic office chair. You need to find the additional special keywords that are something that you can own, and what we call long tail keywords and highly converting keywords that it can bring about like new to brand sales, right? And there are always changes in the different type of trends. So for example, just last year, like in terms of the water bottle example, right? All of a sudden, there was just a sudden huge push for, temperature controlled water bottles, or like basically Stanley looking cup like type of water bottles, right? You might want to capitalize on seasonal trends or something that exploded and went viral online, and basically capture additional trends. And you'll only find out about those in either automatic or broad or phrase. So you don't have to spend too much money on those, but you can actually just keep a small little budget for this kind of broad phrase, so you can catch on new trends, new opportunity for you to gain more additional sales. So that's my recommendation.
All right, thank you so much. I hope all of you take in the recommendation, and then I will see everyone in the next webinar. And then thank you so much, Hui Qi, for joining us. Really appreciate your time, and everyone else to stay to the end with us. Have a very good long holiday break, everyone. Goodbye. See you at the next
Bye.
one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.